Hello, everyone. This week, we are going to learn a conversation strategy. This week, we are going to talk about follow-up questions. This is a strategy for English conversation. So, what is a strategy? A strategy is a plan that you can have or a tactic you can use to help you do something better. So today let's learn the conversation strategy follow-up questions. Here we go. Let's begin with a simple question. What is a follow-up question? Here we see the meaning of the word follow up. It comes after something, right? A follow-up question is a question that you ask to get more information in a conversation. So what are some words that follow-up questions usually start with? Well, we can ask follow-up questions using WH words like who, what, when, where, why, right? These words. For example, I might ask, why are you taking this class? This could be a follow-up question I ask after you have told me some things about yourself. Follow-up questions can start with the be verb, is, am, are, was, were. For example, are you going to the movies later? And they can also start with do. For example, did you have a good weekend? Follow-up questions are very, very important. But why? Why are they important? They keep the conversation going and they show interest. They show the person we are talking to that we are interested in them and interested in what they're saying. They can also help you understand the other person. If you don't know, oh, can you tell me more? What do you mean? Right? These kinds of questions we can ask to get more information and have a better friendship or relationship. Learning how to use follow-up questions will help you have better English conversations. So, very important, right? So let's go ahead and do that today. Let's begin by looking at some different kinds of follow-up questions we can ask. So, like we just learned, follow-up questions can begin with different kinds of words. First, let's look at follow-up questions that begin with the be verb. So these would be questions that begin with is, am, are, and then past tense, was, and were. We can ask follow-up questions that begin with these words. For example, are you a student? Was Jack at the party? Were you in class yesterday? Follow-up questions that begin with the be verb give us simple information, yes or no, right? Are you a student? Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Were you in class yesterday? Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Next, let's look at follow-up questions that begin with the do verb. So these would be the words do, of course, and did. For example, do you play baseball? Does he like movies? Did you do anything fun this weekend? Or did she call you? These are also yes or no questions. For example, do you play baseball? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Did she call you? Yes, she did. No, she didn't. So be questions and do questions are simple yes or no questions. Last, let's look at follow-up questions that begin with WH words. This would be words like who, what, when, where, why, how, and also the word which. So let's look at some examples of questions that begin with WH words. Where did you go for vacation? What kind of music do you like? How often do you visit your family? Now, there's something a little bit different about follow-up questions that begin with WH. WH questions are open-ended questions. This means that these are questions that cannot just be answered with yes or no. For example, if I asked you, where did you go for vacation? Your answer is going to be a bit longer. It's not just yes, I did, no, I didn't, yes, I am, no, I'm not. Where did you go for vacation? Oh, I went to the Philippines for summer vacation. A little bit longer. Open-ended questions, or questions that begin with our WH words, really do a better job of keeping the conversation going. So it's best to ask these kinds of questions in a conversation. So let's practice. Oh, before we practice, we have a key point. So what is our key point? Follow-up questions should be about the same topic that the person is talking about. This means if someone is telling you about food, ask them about food. If someone is telling you about music, ask them about music. And of course, if someone is telling you about their family, you can ask about their family. So a word we could use here is relevant. Make sure that your follow-up questions are relevant to what the person is talking about so they can keep the conversation going. Let's take a look at some examples. So I want you to tell me if this is a good example or a bad example of using follow-up questions. All right, here we go. Hey, how was your weekend? Pretty good. I saw a movie. What's your favorite food? Huh? Oh, I guess I like pizza. Where are you from? What? I'm from New York. So this is an example of bad follow-up questions. They are not about what the person is talking about, right? So here we see, we started off good. Hey, how was your weekend? Pretty good. I saw a movie. Okay, so we're talking about movies. This means the next question should have been about movies. For example, what movie did you see? Where did you go see a movie? Who did you see a movie with? We can use different WH follow-up questions, but it should be about the topic. So let's try again. Hey, how was your weekend? Pretty good. I saw a movie. Cool. What movie did you see? I saw The Favorite. Oh, I want to see that. Did you enjoy it? Yeah, it was great. You should see it too. Okay, this is much better. This is an example of good follow-up questions. Here, just like we saw as a bad example before, I saw a movie. So our question should be about that. What movie did you see? Right? And then we continue asking and responding. So make sure that your follow-up questions stay on topic. So this is great, right? Follow-up questions are really wonderful and very helpful, but how can we use it as a conversation strategy? How can follow-up questions help us go into an English conversation and feel better prepared and more confident in our ability to have a conversation? We can do this with a very helpful conversation strategy, QARF, or today we'll call it CARF, QARF. We can think of a good conversation like a game of tennis. Why? Why can we do that? Why can we think of a good conversation being similar to a game of tennis? This is because both players must serve and volley the ball to keep the game going in tennis, right? One person hits the ball, the other person hits it back. One person, the other person, one person, the other person. So just like this, in a conversation, both people need to be a part of the conversation. And just like a tennis ball, going back and forth between the two people. But we don't use tennis balls in conversation. Instead of a tennis ball, we use follow-up questions. That's the back and forth in a conversation. Good conversation has a back and forth. It isn't just one person asking all the questions, right? It's both people sending that ball back and forth, those follow-up questions back and forth, and learning about each other, showing interest in each other, and talking to each other. This is how a good conversation keeps going. So how can we keep the conversation going? We can use CARF. This conversation strategy is simple and effective. So let's learn what CARF is and how we can use it. In CARF, Q means question. This is step 1, question. Step 2 is an answer. Step 3 is a response, and the F stands for follow-up question. And then we might start over, right? After the follow-up question, we have an answer again. Let's look at this process, this QARF conversation strategy process, step by step, so you can learn it to have better English conversations. It can help you speak more fluently in no time at all. It can help you be more confident and feel more capable in English conversation. Let's take a look at an example. So, is this a conversation? Let's take a look. Did you go out last night? Yes, I did. Where did you go? I went to an internet cafe. Who did you go there with? I went with my friends. What did you do? We played a game. Did you eat ramen? No, I didn't. Okay, so here we see person A is asking question after question after question after question. What do you think? Is this a good conversation? Is this what you think we should do if we're talking to someone? No, 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 no. Question, 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 question. This is not a conversation. This is an interview or interrogation, right? Dun, dun, dun. What have you done? Question, 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 question. This is not a conversation. So let's try again. So why? Why do we need to try again? Why was that not a conversation? Because there was no back and forth. It was one person asking question after question after question. But we can definitely do better than that, right? So now let's try again. We're going to try again using QARF, question, answer, response, follow-up question. So let's try again. Here we have the conversation one more time, but using QARF. So let's read together. So it begins with the question, right? There's our Q. So let's underline. Here's our Q, beginning the conversation. What did you do last night? Then our answer. I went to an internet cafe with my friends after class, and then we ate fast food for dinner. Okay, now person A can respond. Really? Wow! It sounds like you were really busy yesterday. Then we can ask another question. What computer games do you usually play? This is a much better conversation. So here we see, first of all, that our follow-up question is related to the topic. So here he's talking about person B, he or she is talking about going to an internet cafe, and we ask a follow-up question that is about that topic. Oh, what computer games do you usually play? So that's good. We're not just asking question, but staying on topic and asking questions about the right things. What else is different in this QARF conversation? Well, we have more information. If you remember in the first example, when person B was asked, "What did you do last night?" they just said, "I went to an internet cafe." In a conversation, yes, it is important for there to be back and forth, but it's also important to give more information, give detailed answers. If someone asks, for example, "What did you do last weekend?" you can say more than "I was at home." You can say more than "I went to an internet cafe." So here, let's look at this as an example. Here, person B gave some more information. "I went to an internet cafe with my friends after class, and then we ate fast food for dinner." So they tell more information like who they were with, when it happened, and what they did after going to the internet cafe. We also see more information and a response. This is different, right? In conversation 1, there was no response, just question. So step 1 is to respond after person B answers. Really? Wow. So we can respond in different ways. I might say, oh, let's say they went to an internet cafe. I could say, "Me too. Oh, I love doing that too." Just some response showing I listened to what you said. I understood what you said. And then we can add some more information. Again, really? Wow. It sounds like you were really busy yesterday. Just some comment about what they said. Then we can ask another follow-up question, again about that same topic. What computer games do you usually play? And then we can keep going. So QARF is not just 1, 2, 3, 4 done. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. We can keep it going to have a good conversation. So let's continue. So we've just asked, what computer games do you usually play? Let's see how this conversation continues. I usually play League of Legends, but I like Battleground too. How about you? Me? I'm not really into computer games, but sometimes I play FIFA online. Do you play LOL every day? So here we see a much better conversation. Not just question. And we can see that we also continue to ask follow-up questions that are about the topic. So this time, person A responded that they like LOL. So the follow-up question, do you play every day? And we also add more information to our responses. Let's look at how person B responded to that question, what computer games do you usually play? So they responded, I usually play League of Legends. Okay, great. Then they added more information, and you should too. I usually play League of Grounds, but I like Battleground too. So here a little more. Yes, I usually play this game and this as well. Then they asked a follow-up question. Remember, in tennis, the ball goes back and forth. In a conversation, the questions go back and forth, right? We're responding, we're asking questions. And the question, how about you, is a great one. Oh, I usually play LOL. How about you? Right? What do you like? Can you tell me more about yourself? Then we see person A responds, me, I'm not really into computer games. Okay, that's an okay answer, but then they add some more detail. But sometimes I play FIFA online. Do you play LOL every day? So ending with that follow-up question. And this is how this conversation can continue. Then there would be another answer. Maybe they would say, oh, I don't play every day. I also really like to go hiking with my friends often, so I don't have a lot of time. And we keep going. Respond, follow up, answer, respond, follow up. Okay? Let's continue. This was a much better conversation, right? Because there was back and forth. Person A and person B were learning about each other, showing interest in each other, and actually responding to and listening to each other in their conversation. So, ding, much better. So remember, when you are thinking of CARF, it's a loop that keeps the conversation going. So we can go around that loop in a conversation, and we can remember this strategy to keep our conversations continuing naturally and easily. Let's go ahead and get some practice. So here we have our cue. Do you like to play computer games? Well, how could we answer? Do questions are yes or no questions, so we can answer yes I do or no I don't. But remember, we also want to add more information. So we could say yes I do. I like to play League of Legends. So here we're responding, right? Answer yes I do, and some more information. Next, person A needs to respond. League of Legends? Really? That's a fun game. And a follow-up question about the topic, how often do you play it? So we could ask any number of follow-up questions here. Let's continue with our next question. What's your personality like? So here, let's answer. My personality? Well, I'm talkative and outgoing. So we have a little detail here, right? Not just, oh, small answer. We have two adjectives here. That's a good start. Well, I'm talkative and outgoing. Now we need our response and follow-up question. Wow, me too. I really like meeting new people. Do you like meeting new people too? So we can see here that we gave some detail, right? We shared a little bit about ourselves even. Me too, I like meeting new people. And then our follow-up question is relevant. It's about the topic. Do you like meeting new people too? Let's look at one more example. All right, last example. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Sure, I have a younger brother. He lives in LA. So notice here that again, we added more information. I have a younger brother, so some information about the brother and where he lives. He lives in LA. Now let's look at our response and follow-up question. LA? Cool. I've always wanted to go there. What does your brother do? So we responded, right? Just said, oh, LA. Oh, that's cool. I've always wanted to go there. And then we add a follow-up question about the topic. So again, about the brother, just asking a little bit about him. What does your brother do? Okay, now I want you to try and think of a good follow-up question for these statements. I went to see a movie last weekend with my friends. So what could you ask me? If we're having a conversation and I say, I went to see a movie last weekend with my friends, what can you ask me? You could ask something like, what movie did you see? Or are you a big fan of movies? So the topic here is movies, right? So our follow-up question should be about the topic. What movie did you see? Oh, are you a big fan of movies? Do you go to see movies often? Did you have a good time with your friends? There are many possible questions we could use. And remember, follow-up questions that use WH are the best kind because they are open-ended questions. We can get a more detailed answer, which makes having a conversation much easier. Okay, next. Again, what's a good follow-up question? I love going to the gym. Okay, so someone tells you this sentence. Oh, I love going to the gym. What is a question you could ask? Remember those words we could start with. Is, am, are, was, were, do or did, and our WH questions. Well, we could ask questions like, do you lift weights? Or how often do you go? So we could ask a yes or no question. Do you run on the treadmill? Do you lift weights? Or we could even ask this as an open-ended question. What do you like to do at the gym? Or another question, how often do you go? Why do you like going to the gym? Right? Many good questions we can ask to keep that conversation going. All right, next. If someone tells you, my future goal is to become a teacher. Okay. So we're talking about future goals, talking about being a teacher. So what question could you ask someone? Remember those words? What question could you ask? You could ask, like, what subject do you want to teach? Oh, I want to teach English. You could ask, why do you want to be a teacher? Oh, you want to be a teacher? Why? Why do you want to do that? Right? So again, there are many different questions we could ask when faced with the statement like, my future goal is to become a teacher. Make sure that your questions are about the correct topic, right? Staying on topic. And remember to respond. So before you'd ask a question, my future goal is to become a teacher. Oh, really? That's so cool. I loved so many of my teachers. Why do you want to become a teacher? So remember to also respond to the statement. All right, so most important, remember, a good conversation needs back and forth, not just question, 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 question. Make sure to respond. And if someone is asking you questions, make sure to return the favor. Oh, how about you? What do you think? What do you want to do? Okay? So don't forget to use QARF. It is an extremely useful conversation strategy that will definitely help you to be able to listen to and identify good conversations, and also to use and help yourself have better and easier English conversations. So that's it for our video today. Please make sure to check eClass for assignments, and remember, follow-up questions are the most important, the most basic, foundational, important things for a good conversation. So that's all for today, guys. See you next time.